NutriCast.
Hey, it's Austin James. If you're like me, trying to live your best life while living with diabetes, you can relate to worrying if you're doing a good job managing your diabetes. I use the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor to get real-time glucose readings and see the impact of every meal and activity to make better decisions. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor can help me live life with diabetes on my own terms, and it gives me more time for the things I love, like being a dad and a musician. Now this is progress. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
This year, Santa's bringing the power of Energizer into his workshop.
Whoa, the Energizer Bunny's got so much power.
Wait, he's powered up all the toys. I think that means we're done for the year.
I love this bunny.
He's the hardest working helper the North Pole has ever seen. And he wants all your gifts to have the power of the #1 longest lasting AA battery. So this holiday season, stock up on Santa's and the elves' favorite battery, Energizer Ultimate Lithium.
Dollar bets, dollar bets, dollar bets.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really like the way that sounded, but we're going to go with it. What up, Z?
That was a really tentative look.
Yeah.
And guess what? No takesy backsies, and we're going raw today because I don't have my whistle. Can't find my whistle. Yep, no cut, no warp whistle, no cutsies, no adjusting your AD saying how you need to adjust your schedule. Nothing like that. We're going straight up for it, straight up raw, okay? Raw sports coming at you.
Oh, I have a big announcement to make.
Okay.
I know this is going to make you very happy. It's probably also going to make our listeners very happy. I am taking my computer into the shop tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
So by the time that we do our next podcast, it should probably be interruption-free.
Interruption-free, except for
Bad
breaking
news is today will probably be interrupted at some point.
Coital interrupti.
So wanted to share that with you.
We're going to be edging our listeners yet again, and I'll be like, oh. Because the best part is like, and / worst part for the listener, best part for me just laughing is like when you cut out, you don't know that you cut out. So it's like, oh, I'm good. What's wrong with you? What's your problem? Why aren't you agreeing or disagreeing vehemently with this point I'm making with that?
And I'm generally not on the screen that has you on the video, so I can't see if you're trying to give me a signal.
Oh, I know you hear me on the video. True.
You hear me. I hear you, but I don't see you because I'm always on like ESPN or something like.
Perfect.
Doing my background work.
Just thinking about me on the phone.
Yeah.
Product. We did go to a school that hired Mel Tucker, so it's fine. All right, go ahead. What do we got?
Anything happen in sports lately?
Oh, nothing at all. No playoffs, no $765 million contracts, no doink victories, no nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Wait,
nothing at all.
What was a $765 million contract?
Oh, it was Juan Soto. That's a baseball player. Mets. Meet the Mets.
Mets?
Yeah. 15 years, so he'll be like our age, 41. I mean, we'll say 41. He's going to be in his 40s.
How do they do that? A 15-year contract?
Because it's like, I don't know, you can still, it's your eyes and your forearms, right? And you can play DH, so it's like, I don't know. I mean, the last 3-4 years are just tack-ons, obviously, but it's like, why, there's no salary cap, so there's no rules, no restrictions practically. So it's like, yeah,
Does
you know
baseball
what?
still not have a salary cap?
No, it's like late 90s hockey where they're just like, screw it. Here you go, Wings. Put like 5 Hall of Famers on the same line. Why not? The glory days, Like, it made me so mad. It's like,
those were some days.
But I'm mostly I'm a reformed capitalist, or a capitalist that believes in like some limitations. So, but then I was just like, oh, that's not fair. But if the Blackhawks are spending that money and getting Hall of Famers, I'd be like, yeah, keep up, bro. You got to keep up, So I like leagues that have salary caps as far as like the number or percentage compared to another franchise. However, I don't believe in caps on individual salaries of players. It's more like, Okay, well, you can spend $500 million, but one guy could get like almost all of that. I think then it's up to the player if he wants, you want legacy or do you want the money? Because it's hard to get both. Hard to get
Yeah.
both, especially if you're playing for the Pacers and you're making $420 million a year and you got $80 million to spend on the other 12 guys. It's like, good luck. Good luck.
Who's that, Halliburton?
No, I mean, like if it was like a year per year. So like
Wow. I
LeBron
thought
and
you were giving me a
Jordan.
real case there, a real
No,
example.
I'd say the only guys that would have deserved that much money in the NBA in the since post Magic and Bird in that era, and then when they were in their absolute heyday is Jordan, LeBron, and
Dunk?
no, Luca, not Luca. Sorry, Jokic. Honestly, not even like Kobe was amazing, but not even Kobe. Like
Well, you
those
couldn't have
guys
done
are
Kobe because
unicorns.
Kobe had Shaq.
Yeah, he did win without Shaq, and that team was kind of not that great. And it was a triangle offense type of team though, right? So it was elevated. It was elevated, not that great. The other guys, your Shannon Browns or Sasha V or whatever, was so bad.
Vucevic.
Oh my God, he's so bad. And Meta, and obviously Gasol were good. Meta Gasol
Odom.
were good. Yeah. Odom was good before he did the crack or
And
whatever it was.
Bynum was on there.
Bynum was fine. He had when he was healthy, he was
Bynum did not reach
good
his potential. That's what I'll say about Bynum.
I think he did. I think his health was the factor, but his play when he was healthy, I think that was who he was, honestly. So if you want more info about the 2010 Lakers, you can email us at dollarbetsshow with a Z, dollarbetsshow@gmail.com. Because we can talk about that. We were both in Los Angeles at the same time, I believe, and we were probably celebrating in different ways than that team because it was a fun team. I mean, it was Game 7, Kobe and some guys, and then against
I
the
was
Celtics.
living in LA at the time, but when that actually happened, I was down in Bolivia.
What time zone is Bolivia?
I think it's like I think it's like 1 hour ahead of us, actually. Let's see. I will
Oh,
research this.
it's
It's definitely some late night stuff that was going on, and
yeah.
it's hard to find a sports bar in Bolivia that's going to play the NBA
Los
Finals.
Los Lakers. Yeah, I bet there's a lot of Celtics fans in Bolivia.
Yeah,
Hey,
Bolivia is 1 hour ahead
in Atlantic.
of us.
Oh, so
It's 9 p.m. there.
it's also the second time we've mentioned Bolivia in a show out of 46 episodes. Pretty
It's
impressive.
only the second. It's one of my favorite topics.
We're Bolivia's number 7 sports show. No, number 3 that doesn't talk about soccer much. Only sometimes. So what is the topic of the day? Or not lead, but most important one, because we've already led us down this Bolivian path to
I
the
was
20.
going to say, like, you mean our most important aside from Bolivia?
Aside from Bolivia and the 2010 Lakers, which we can talk about.
All right, let's stop delaying. Let's get to the college football playoff.
Playoffs.
Playoffs?
There's a few schools that aren't saying it like that. Playoffs? We should have beat Oklahoma. 6-6 Oklahoma. Like, no sympathy for ya. Also,
Yep,
SMU stinks, dude.
So,
oh my God.
Listen, obviously, between the two of us, I am the biggest Alabama fan on this show.
Yeah, I mean, I like rooting for money, and I have fond memories
The
of
committee got it right. The committee, in my opinion, Alabama should not have been there.
Well, they had to not punish future conference title
they had
game
to set a
losers.
precedent, definitely.
Yeah.
Step one.
Like if you're going to
which was
reward
also a
conference
conversation
winners,
that had happened in some of the early years of the 14 playoff, which was abandoned at later points.
Abandoned my boy.
So I think the 12 teams that are in are the right 12 teams. Would you agree with that?
I mean, based on the criteria, yeah. I mean, are they the best? Are they 12 teams that are representative of the 12 teams that have the best chance of winning? No, but like they're close. I mean, I would put SMU and Ole Miss. I mean, sorry, I'd put South Carolina. Sorry, guys. Put the Gamecocks and Ole Miss ahead of SMU and Alabama, and Clemson. But like aside from that, no, they probably got it right. I actually think even though it's just because they're conference winners and you had to rank the best four of the five conference winners, I actually think they got it right with Boise. I think they're the third best team right now. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
So, listen, Boise lost one game this year.
3
It was
points on the road.
at Oregon, and it was by 3 points.
Yeah. And
And
they
the
slipped up
reason
on it
that
a couple
Boise
times.
is so good is because of Ashton Genty. By the way, the Heisman finalist just came out a little bit ago.
Yeah.
He is on
Was it
there.
3 of them?
4.
Who are the 2 guys that don't belong?
Well, who was the one that you had included when you just said 3?
Oh, Gabriel. I heard Gabriel got, which
Yep,
is ridiculous.
Gabriel's 1. Okay, I'm
Come
sure
on.
you could guess the 4th one.
Yeah, Shitter Sanders, right?
No, actually, I guess you can't. Cam Ward.
Okay. Cool. Like, it's nice. Yeah, those two do not belong in the conversation at all.
No,
Like,
but you can't have only 2 people there because what?
why not?
Because what? You're only gonna have one loser.
It's like shake hands. Like one of you wins. It's like, do you really deserve a trip? Like, you couldn't go to the playoff, Cam Ward, because your defense stinks and your coach stinks, and you hit your first read. Congratulations. Like, okay, he's fine. He's gonna have a shot to be a pro and stick on a roster for a few years. We'll see how it happens. He has gone up levels every time, but I mean, he went it down a level coaching wise. His coach stinks. Cristobal can recruit. He stinks. This is the same guy that could have taken a knee and didn't take a knee last year.
First of
Take the
all,
knee, man.
recruiting is like 50% of the college job.
Yeah, but we're talking about coaching, man. I mean, they get like he got $2 million.
2?
$2 million to allegedly $2 million to play at Miami. I mean, I guess that buys you a trip to New York. You know, it's like, and then
I'm sure.
Gabriel, what were you saying?
Actually, that brings up a question: who pays for them to go to New York?
I
Do
think
they
the
have to pay their
schools.
own way? Does the school pay it? Does the Heisman Commission pay it?
You can go your own way. I don't know, was a Heisman. I know they don't pay for their own billboards. I think the school or the association does that. But
Yeah.
honestly, like you give it a two-way star or you give it a Genty, it's gonna go to Hunter, obviously, but Genty should get it, just like Walker should have won it. It's like I'm taking that guy 100%. I'm 32 teams draft in the first round this year, right? The Dolphins aren't punished for cheating again.
Well,
Tampering.
yes, but there will definitely be trades, and somebody will have a second.
So, I mean, there's 32 teams that have an opportunity to have their first selection, we'll say, regardless of where that is. There is one NFL team, I would say, that doesn't need Genty. And it's the Lions because they have a great offensive line, not a good line, a great line. Very, very, very strong coaching, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And you have Gibbs, who's in his second year as a stud. You got Montgomery as a veteran stud that just runs like a monster when he wants to get that yard. He's going to get you that goddamn yard.
Angry run champion of the world.
He's angry knuckles, you know. He just pow pow. So it's like imagine if you're like he's not going to be there at 31, 32, 30 or 29 obviously, but like obviously if he was there, I'm running that. I'm like screw it. Let's just keep doing this. We'll make Gibbs a slot receiver, like whatever. We'll figure it out. But like that's a want and not a need. Every other team should run this dude's name up there. Every single team. However, there are some teams that need so much that you're like the Patriots and Jaguars, it's like, and the Raiders, no. But the Giants too, and those four. Every other team, literally every other team, but it's those four and the Lions, boom, I'm running that dude. That guy is amazing. He's not overused. He doesn't have like Lorenzo White level carries on him. That's an 80s reference for you guys. The other guy was what? Like the guy from was he Central Florida? He was at or East Carolina. Chris Johnson, I think it was.
Oh,
I
Chris
don't know.
Johnson played for,
He was fast. ECU maybe.
I can't remember, but
It was
yeah,
one
he
of
was a
those
stud.
two.
He had a 2,000-yard season.
Yeah, but he had a lot of carries in it, so it's like people are worried about the carries. But like honestly, Boise does a good job of not over. The guy's a stud, man. You seen him? You seen him? He runs people
Let me
over.
just go ahead and just make this announcement right now.
Hmm.
Whichever team drafts him, well, I will clarify this in a second. Whichever team drafts him, I will more than likely make that team my second team. The only caveat is if it's a divisional team, the Bears or the
I'm.
Packers,
I don't
or
think the
the
Packers would
Cowboys,
do
who I
it.
can't stand.
The Cowboys are 100% drafting him. Like that's all the mocks are
I've
doing.
actually seen him in a number of mock drafts to the Cowboys, which
Yeah,
I hope that doesn't happen.
I mean it's definitely happening, right? Like unless someone ahead of them takes him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Okay, so the
Unless Dallas
Cowboys.
goes on a winning streak to end the season with Cooper Rush.
We'll just whether they're with 4 wins, say they get six, they go 6-11, so they'll draft like ninth, 10th, 12th. Okay,
Do they
if
only
he
have
goes
four
ahead,
wins?
yeah, let's see who is ahead of them that like is going to definitely draft him because I don't think any of them will. I'll be so pissed if the Cowboys draft one spot past the Bears and the Bears
Dallas is
pass on
five
their
and
team.
seven right now.
They have 5 wins.
They do.
Are they going to make the playoffs?
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 teams that have four or less, and
Okay.
then Dallas is one of two teams at five.
Oh, yeah, okay. So it's them and the
Thanks.
who? The Saints?
Saints are 5 and 8, so a half a game back.
Them ain't interesting. No, same thing with Saints. Like Saints or Cowboys would be a good fit for opportunity wise. Kamara's older, and also they're gonna have a new coach, so he's gonna want a new toy, right? That dude's not a new toy. That's like it's like you get like one of those stupid cup balls that you throw in the string, and you're little Johnny, and Johnny goes over to little Claire, and Claire's like, "Oh, I got a Power Wheels." You're like, don't be little Johnny. Be Claire and get her the Power Wheels. Like Genty is a Power Wheel. If you take one of these pretty good but kind of interchangeable like linemen on either side of the ball in the top 10 and Genty sitting there, like what are you doing? Honestly, I don't remember a sure thing like this since even Barkley people were like, why is he going to this team? But in this case, like, yeah, unless you're the Giants and don't repeat the same thing where you get a running back and he's your best player by such a country mile, like right off the bat. But if you're drafting like 5 to 15, why are you not taking him? Why are you not running that? I went sprinting that pick.
Yeah.
Dear message. Sprinting that pick to the podium. You're like, hey, Paul Tagliabue. Just kidding. Whatever guy. Adam Silver. I forget who the freaking commissioner. Oh,
Roger
Goodell.
Goodell, are you for reals right now?
Stupid. I already checked out. I'm going to another country soon. They don't have sports ball. So,
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Hey, let's take about 30 seconds to talk about that. Tell our
yeah.
listeners where you going.
I'm going to Belize. Belize Navidad.
Yeah.
Belize
And what are you going to
Navidad.
see when you're in Belize?
A blue hole.
What kind of blue hole?
Big blue hole.
The Great
biggest.
Blue Hole.
A great blue hole.
No, that's its official name, the Great Blue
I
Hole.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
C.
Yep.
Um,
Very
so
jealous. That is something on my
you
list.
should be jelly. I'll tell you how it is, man. If you
I can
live to
tell you how
see
it is right now.
the Seven Wonders.
It's amazing.
How many
All right.
Fleetwood Mac references can we pack into a sports show set in 2024? It is one of our final shows in 2024, which will forever be known as the year that we began officially dollar betting.
The year of the dollar bet.
Yes, I want to hear your takeaways and questions from this playoffs conundrum that I think will be quieted in a few weeks, but we'll see. Because what, SMU is the 12, right? Or the 11? They're 11 seed.
SMU is the 11.
And they're playing at Penn State.
Yeah. So here's my
Interesting.
beef.
Okay. Beef.
Here's my beef. Okay. I will start by saying I think the committee has the correct 12 teams in the playoff.
Yeah.
100%.
So.
My first issue is I think they misordered the last two teams. 11 is SMU, 12 is Clemson. I would have switched that, and I just think you have to have a little recency bias and give some credit to winning that game, the conference championship game, when it's those two teams. Right?
I mean, it was like who wanted to lose less, right? Like,
and by the way, championship Saturday, there were some great games like this and some finishes too. Like this was maybe the best day of the college season.
Yeah, I mean, Texas game ended as you would think it would, and with Texas, pulling a loss out of a win, and then you had Oregon just toying with Penn State. Yeah. It's like, hey, we want the narrative to be that Franklin is going to Franklin, not that we were good enough to blow them out and we didn't do it, and we haven't played a complete game an entire season, and we're going to possibly win the title anyways because it's a down year for like juggernauts.
Yeah. And then the SMU Clemson game was great.
It was one good quarter. Yeah. That usually becomes a great game, right? If it's one good quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jennings guy is just like hit or miss, right? Like once he got rolling, but it's like Clemson let him get rolling because they just completely shut down. Like it was a garbage performance in the fourth quarter for that team. And the way they play Texas, right? No chance.
Yeah. So
no chance.
Here's the other thing why I wanted those two teams to be switched in their order.
Yeah.
We would have had Texas SMU. So we had a all Texas game there.
Clemson Penn State.
Clemson Penn State, which I think is just a better matchup in terms of,
ratings.
Well, not just that, but just actually like putting those two teams up against each other. I think that's going to be a more compelling game.
But then someone has to win that.
Yeah. We already have the Indiana Notre Dame game. The Battle of Indiana.
That's going to be cool. That's going to be cool. That's the best. I think that's the most intriguing of the matchups. There's 4 of them, right? So the other one is Ohio State and Tennessee.
Yep. Which there's really no connection there, but
I'm fading some teams, and I'm fading a coach as well. Like a couple coaches and a team. I'm fading SMU because, like, I mean, Penn State has more talent on the offensive end, but they've got Franklin. So it's like, I just don't think Penn State will blow a big lead like Clemson did. So if they bring the offense from the Oregon game, I mean, we're not making picks, but we can talk about game strategy, right?
Right.
I don't know, man. It's like they got it together. Their offense got it together. Just don't go for 2 when you don't need to. Onside kick it. Do things that you're supposed to do. Like don't. What are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, like, hey, you know what's a great idea? Let's go have 2nd and a yard and then throw deep with Aller down the sideline, not the middle of the field, not to Warren, but down the sideline. You need 8 points. Let's get 0 points. Let's get intercepted on 2nd and 1 on a low percentage throw when you could just do some play action where you're faking to Warren up the middle or something. And like, I don't know. I was just like 8 points. I was like, this game is going to end with Franklin screwing up the calling the wrong play with their offense coordinator on the 2-point conversion, or they're going to Franklin it in some other way. And they found another way to Franklin it. Franklin provides. Eberflus, the Flus provides. And we'll get to this later, but the Bills coach McDermott provides as well. Always count on these guys. Always count on these guys to provide for you. Okay. Do you think any team got left out that had a legitimate shot to win at all in 4 games or
Yeah,
4 games? The Bama.
Bama.
What
Just
about?
because Bama at their best, which is not the Bama that we saw all the time this year, but we did see it at times this year,
One time.
was a buzzsaw.
3 quarters. We saw it for 3 quarters, maybe 2
No,
against
we saw
Georgia.
it for about 3 games, 2.5
What are the
games.
other games? What are the other games?
I think we saw it against LSU. I think we saw it against Missouri. I think we saw it for a half against Georgia.
Yeah. A half against Georgia is the only one that's relevant because that's the only other playoff team. Missouri
Yeah.
was playing a beat up quarterback and then a backup quarterback that got pushed out of Notre Dame to be a backup.
The Alabama offense wasn't scoring points on a quarterback.
I mean, when your defense,
I don't remember the game
I do.
perfectly, but I don't think that's what happened.
I had Missouri, so I remember how they played, and it's like, yeah, Alabama can do well on offense, but what about the defense giving them that many points? It's like I don't think Alabama had a shot in hell to win the whole thing. I do think South Carolina, the way South Carolina was playing the last like month or two of the season, I think they had a shot. I really do. Because they had NFL talent on the defensive line. They had a stud freshman quarterback, and they had a good running back. And Beamer can coach. So it's like I'm giving a guy that hasn't shown that he can't coach, like Day, like Franklin, like who else? I don't know, the SMU coach got a big contract, and he's like, oh, let me show you that you guys are stupid because I'm going to kick the ball in a returnable kick. I'm going to have my special teams coach order a returnable kick with how many seconds were left? 20? 23?
You're the
20
one who's supposed to
seconds
remember
left?
these kinds of details.
20, it was like low 20s, right? Early 20s. You got someone in the early 20s, right? On that kick return, like, let's do this. You know what? You know what has something common with our goat of the week, something McDermott. Like, is it McDermott? What's his freaking name? Scott, Bill, John. Johnny, you screwed it up.
Wani,
Johnny,
Slappy, look on the briefcase.
Yeah. There was a historic NFL playoff game, right? That showed you what to do when you're kicking off. If you've tied the game or taken a lead, you squib the goddamn ball or blast it so far out of the end zone they have no opportunity to return it for 40 yards. The goal should be do not put them on the 40, the 45-yard line, yours or theirs, unless it takes literally all the time except one play and they get one play. Worst case scenario should be there's 1 second, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, whatever, one play, and then you blitz and you just knock the freaking ball down or you make them throw it too soon. But don't flus it. And this guy pulled a McDermott and a flus in the same game. The same game? He kicks it returnable. That's basically a McDermott, right? Because McDermott, this is the Bills Chiefs game I'm talking about that changed the rules of the playoff. Because remember they tied and went to overtime, and the Bills never saw the ball. So
I think my most memorable kickoff is the first Tom Brady Super Bowl against St. Louis, where St. Louis tied it, but then the ensuing kickoff, it went out of bounds.
Mm-hmm.
So they started it like the 35 or the 40, whatever the rule was back then, and Vinatieri kicked the game winner.
17-14. You saying Brady has help? It's not just Brady. You saying he had assistants to get the dynasty going? Tucker Rule?
Yeah, does that surprise you that I would say that?
No. Every man needs help. Jordan need help.
Vinatieri got help.
I mean, no, but Brady.
That was Vinatieri's team for the first 2 Super Bowls.
That was on Vinatieri as the GOAT. He is the GOAT. I mean, he won Super Bowls with his legs multiple times. Right. Yeah. So
shall we regress a little bit because I think we were talking about the college football playoff.
Yeah. I was just saying that SMU coach pulled like a flus McDermott and won because he lets them return it instead of squibbing it, which you'd have to fall on the ball, and you can't call a fair catch on a squib. Facts. So if you fall on the ball, you're at the 15, 20, 25, whatever yard line. So you need 2 to 3 plays in 15 to 25 seconds. Not easy to do. I don't believe they had they had 3 timeouts, but it doesn't. 3 plays is like doesn't matter. You need multiple plays or one really busted play to get down to tie it. I mean, to break the tie. So why the hell are you not squibbing it? Are you afraid they're going to run a squib back? The person that's getting that squib kick is a college backup linebacker. Right?
Maybe they just don't have a good squib game.
Squib kick. I mean, honestly, like I knew they were going to lose as soon as he returned that kick, like more than like 15 yards. I was like, they got to the 40 or 35. I was like, oh, this game's over. They're going to blast one. Because I was like, I know I have this like spidey sense for horrible coaching now. And not saying the guy is whatever his name is that got the bag too early. Not that we have any experience with that. Not that he's a bad coach. It's just like, I'm glad you took your deal, bro, because if I'm that athletic director and you almost cost him a spot in the playoff, like if they were picking teams that have best chances or teams that got the best ratings or the combination of that, they'd be freaking out of there. But it's because they went on record on a show like an idiot saying that, oh yeah, you're not going to be hurt by losing your conference title game. It's like, yeah, but maybe you should be if you're the 5th best conference this year or you're the 5th best conference winning team. Like I think they shouldn't have been in there, but they were in there because they said, hey, we're going to do this thing, but it only matters this year. But because we're going to change the format again anyways. But like, we're going to be men of our word. Men and women of our word. Who cares? Put the best teams in. Send in the car. Put in South Carolina. South Carolina had a chance, I think. But, like, that SMU kick, dude, like, oh. And then he pulls the floose by giving the soft defense. It's like, if you know that you can be beat by a play down the field, why are you just giving him a zone?
Right. I'm going to blow the whistle on you.
Blow the whistle.
Yeah, blowing the whistle. All right, because I've got 2 more questions I want to ask you regarding the playoff.
Okay, sir. I'll make short answers. Short, violent answers. Okay? Yes.
Short answers. Here we go. Question number 1. So the 4 byes are Oregon, Georgia, Boise, Arizona State.
Nailed it.
It's the first 4 conference winners.
Yeah.
Was Arizona State the right one for the 4th one, or should it have gone to Clemson?
Arizona State. Playing better. They didn't lose in the last month. They didn't lose in the last 2 months, I don't think, right? I don't know, maybe lost 1 in the last month. They lost to Cincinnati and who was the other loss? It wasn't Colorado. It was like, I don't know, another Big 12 team, which is a kind of a black mark. But the way that they've been playing, like, first off, they only blew 1 lead in a game that I remember, and it was BYU in that crazy ending, right? But BYU had one
Texas
loss.
Tech, and then they lost to Cincinnati, both on the road.
Losses weren't great, but their performance down the stretch, it was like them in South Carolina were showing that maybe it wouldn't the end of this year, but next year, look out. Like, these teams are on the rise. I'd rather see a team on the rise get rewarded than Clemson get buku amount of opportunities to show they're fine and not great. Like, I'm sorry, but Clemson's resources and having a coach that won 2 national titles and like resorting to what they've been recently, like, no, man, like they're lucky. Clemson pretends they're like a Bible school now too, so that's cool. It's like, oh yeah, we're ordained to destiny. We got to thank so and so and so and so. It's like, why don't you thank this freaking SMU coach for kicking it to you? Anyways, and that by the way,
Don't make me blow that whistle again, Z.
That Clemson kicker, look out though. In that Texas game, if it comes down to it, guess who's got the better kicker? Not Texas, not Carrot Top. No, he's not good. Bert
Auburn.
Fine, but like he's not.
Can we just talk about that guy's hair? That guy's hair is amazing.
He's got great. He's great. He's got NFL hair.
Dude, that guy should be in the commercial with Troy Polamalu for Head and Shoulders.
Right? Oh, my NIL opportunity shampoo, bro.
Get your NIL. Thank you for reminding me of this.
Yes.
I have got a funny thing. What is the BYU quarterback's name?
I don't know.
Retzlaff. Here we go. Jake Retzlaff.
Yeah.
Yes, Jake Retzlaff. So BYU Mormon school, but
Yeah.
little fact about their quarterback, Jake Retzlaff, he is of the Jewish faith.
He is a member
So,
of the tribe.
yep. This news just came out. Well, I just heard it today, but apparently it came out earlier in the last week. He just got a sponsorship deal, or I guess NIL deal with Manischewitz. And for those of you guys who don't know what Manischewitz is,
It's Jewish table
Manischewitz,
wine.
Jewish grape juice that might have a little bit of alcohol in
It's Jewish table wine that's like, yeah, we can, the 12-year-olds, the
it. Yeah,
non-bar mitzvah can like sip on this and it's like not a violation kind of thing. And like, yeah, he won't
exactly.
get drunk. Mitchell's not going
Exactly.
to get drunk off that. It's
I
Manischewitz.
think this is hilarious.
Are they upset or they're like, what? We'll take the wins. Like they're not mad that he's promoting that.
They being BYU?
Yeah, they being the school that didn't allow a guy to kiss somebody and then he got suspended for the NCAA tournament. That's a fact. That's a fact. A player was suspended for the NCAA tournament for kissing somebody or soaking or whatever they call it.
Well, I'll tell you another BYU related story. Do you remember the old MTV show, The Real World?
Yeah,
So there was one season, I can't remember which one it was, but they had one of the people living in the house was a BYU student. Like she took the
really
semester off to go be on the show. And then she ended up actually getting kicked out of BYU for her on TV behavior on the show.
interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds like we shouldn't be rooting for BYU.
Um, no,
You can.
BYU has a Manischewitz sponsored quarterback. I am all for it.
And is their coach?
By the
Is their
way,
coach Samoan? He was a former lineman for them, right?
yeah, he's definitely a Pacific Islander of some
You got
sort.
a Pacific Islander coach, a Jewish quarterback, repping Manischewitz. That's freaking
By the way,
dope.
I think the next step in this is Manischewitz is going to come out with a sports drink.
Oh, Manischewitz sports drink, Manischewitz energy, Manischewitz, 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 Man shredded. Yeah, I'm Jake Retzloff.
All right. What were we
Don't wait
talking
till the
about
last
before we
minute.
went down this tangent?
Yeah. Get
Where
your
were
energy on with Man and Shredded. What's that?
Where were
Oh,
we? Oh, yeah. We
you
were
were
discussing
asking.
if Arizona State was the correct number
Yeah,
4.
I think it was. I think they're the correct 4. Honestly, they got a good shot. They got a good shot to do some damage, honestly.
I think your arguments for that, and more importantly, your arguments against Clemson have convinced me. So, yes, I will agree that the first 4 are correct. So, here's my last question.
Okay.
And I don't really have an opinion quite yet. Is the format, and obviously the answer could have been completely different had the bracket ended up differently. But
Yeah.
is this the correct format where you give the first round buys to the highest 4 seeded conference champions and then fill out the other 12 accordingly?
I think it has its flaws, but
should the 5th conference champion be a designated spot in the bracket?
like a home game,
Yeah,
like they get
yeah, I mean even that.
like they get no lower than the 8th seed. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah,
Like
that would be
guaranteed
the
home game?
implication, yes.
I mean, I think that's an interesting scenario. I think it's maybe like okay, one addendum, but then you're gonna have multiple addendums would be like
Addendi.
okay, if multiple addendis, if the team, in this case it was Clemson, is ranked in the top 10 of the playoff ranking, aside from the teams that are like like Arizona State, and on the off chance it was like Army instead of Boise State or UNLV or whatever, and they weren't in the top 10. Where am I going with this? Is that if you're in the top 10 of the rankings, how it used to be like, oh, if you're top 12 of this, you get a BCS game or whatever. It's like you get a home game. But if you're like 11th like, do you really deserve a home game just because some team choked against you when you had many, many opportunities to play against good teams and you lost every time? Like they lost to every good team they played. Clemson did.
They
Besides
got
SMU.
absolutely trucked in the opener to Georgia.
That's fine. It's Georgia. But South Carolina beat them and Louisville beat them. Louisville's fine. They're like fourth or fifth in the conference. But SMU, so here's the thing is like ACC should be, instead of like running their mouths with their god awful joke of a commissioner, Jim Phillips, he sucks, dude. He's so bad. He's so bad, man. He's run their conference into the ground. He's garbage. And now he's like, oh, we need to get to like, where were you last year sticking up for your conference ahead of time? You know? And now he's like, now that you have no argument because the way the schedule worked out, the top three teams didn't play each other, and you're arguing that you deserve two. You got lucky that SMU lost. Like, SMU gave ass at the end in the last 20 seconds. Otherwise, they would be on it. Clemson wouldn't be in with 4 losses. So it's like, oh, like maybe make sure that your predictive metrics are something that you could see it coming, that your new school was better than your old schools and your Clemson and Miami didn't play each other. It's like, what a joke. What a joke of a conference that has become. And you have Duke basketball holding you up. Everything else is god awful right now. God awful. But yeah, like, do you think that there should be like a top 10 type of thing, or top 8, if you're in the top 10 or top 8 of rankings, then even if, like, say you were 5th through like 10th in the final ranking, that you are guaranteed a home game against the lowest?
Yeah, I think there definitely needs to be some sort of additional reward for being
Okay.
a conference
So
champion.
so Clemson goes down with Clemson gets the 8th, and they play Tennessee as the 9th, and then Ohio State would have played, blah, blah, and so on and so on. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good, like, God forbid you don't try to destroy something that's brand new and let it play out and then adjust it, which I think they can do. It's bureaucratic, so they're gonna blow it, right? Everyone's gonna hate
Yeah.
it, except the gamblers. They love it. New format to
So,
gamble on. Why not?
yeah. So here are my thoughts. And before we get to that, I actually just looked something
Mm-hmm.
up off to the side. I have a little correction from a minute ago. The
Okay.
plural of addendum is addenda with an A at the end.
It's actually addenda.
Yeah, I just looked it up.
Boy, we really committed addendicide on that one.
Well done, Z. All
Thank you,
right,
sir.
here are my thoughts. And I'm going to use Indiana as an example.
Okay.
Here's Indiana's schedule from this past year: FIU, Florida International, Western Illinois,
Mm-hmm.
UCLA, Charlotte,
Yep.
Maryland, Northwestern, Nebraska, Washington, Michigan State,
Ugh.
Michigan, at Ohio State, and Purdue. So on their entire schedule, they played one ranked team.
3 bowl teams and 1 ranked team. Not good.
And they
Right?
lost decisively to that one ranked team.
Yeah.
So here Indiana was 11-1, predictably.
Mm-hmm. Not predictably
Here's
going in the season, though.
no, but
That's a 7 and
um
5 to 9 and 3 schedule normally with a team with that type of stature, even with a new coach. Like, you know,
yeah,
they had a whole new portal team though. Half their team's from the portal.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
it was a wild card. They didn't roll the dice, but that's not any
we
different
we
than
know
SMU.
that in college football in this day and age, teams can have crazy wild swings.
Yeah,
And it
even more
doesn't
so
even
than
have to be
basketball,
when
honestly.
half the team is replaced. It can be just having one stud, Kenneth
Hmm.
Walker.
Yeah.
um, so here's my thought. I think there should be a cap to how many teams per conference can get in, and that cap should be 3. Because
Nah.
I think,
Okay, I'm gonna hear this.
sticking with the Big Ten example, it should have been Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, and Indiana with their joke of a schedule should not have been in there.
Tell me, how does Penn State have a better schedule besides USC? Or sorry, they're not it. They're in their conference. Penn State played nobody, dude, except Ohio State.
Let me see. Penn State. Did Penn State not play Oregon? Well, that
No,
was in the
they played Ohio
championship. Yeah,
State.
my bad.
And Oregon.
Okay, let's see. They played Illinois,
They
who was
played.
a ranked team.
Okay, they played Illinois. Congratulations. They did not
Okay,
play
well, at least they had
Michigan.
another ranked team. But also, just eye test it. Who do you think was a better team, Penn State or Indiana?
Indiana, because they're not coached by Franklin, so they have a higher ceiling. They have a much lower floor because obviously when their special teams botched that Ohio State game so severely that it's like, oh, these guys are going to give ass to us. We're going to take it. And then it's like it was their special teams in that game made it so Ryan Day proof that you just line up and play ball with your line being stronger than their defensive line is, and their defensive line being better than their portal offensive line, which was good. But when you're lining up a team that just returned a punt for a touchdown after it blocked a punt to the 2 yard line, it's like you stop that self belief that you're rah rah coach, that you're cocky coach. It's like Google me. It's like, well, this is what they're gonna Google actually is us giving ass in the special teams.
By the way, we
I
can't really disqualify that Oregon game because Penn State earned the trip to the championship game.
No, I'm not
So,
just no, you don't disqualify it, but like they earned it by being ranked higher by choking against Ohio State instead of choking in two possessions in a row that really flipped the score. Plus that run in tack on touchdown when they have their backups in. Like, come on, dude. Unbelievable. So I think Indiana is got a better shot against Notre Dame than Penn State has against. They're the 6th seed, right? I think Boise is going to beat Penn State, and I don't think it's going to be up to Franklin at this time. I think Boise is just a better team. I'm going to hammer that one. I'm going to hammer it if they get by SMU. If they get by SMU. Yeah, no, I think that's a really good question though. Is like the schedule aspect. Like, how can with 18 team and 16 to 18 team conferences and whatever happens next, like how can you adjudicate scheduling if you're guaranteed that one conference gets 4 teams or more in? Because I don't think the system right now allows a situation where you just lop off the next 1 to 3 teams from a conference if they're objectively pretty good. Like, for example, this is a hypothetical because the SEC doesn't do this. They'd rather have the gate against a god awful team so their fans can get wasted and play against Charleston Southern instead of, God forbid, you host like Boise or even South Alabama, someone with a pulse, right? A team with a
wait,
pulse.
are there really only 3 SEC teams, or am I miscounting?
No, there's 3. There's Georgia, Texas. There's 2, right? Tennessee, 3.
Yeah,
Well, but South Carolina, Alabama, and Ole Miss were the next three of the next 4 teams
right.
ranked, right? And then Missouri wasn't that far down, and LSU. If you
So the
keep
Big
going down.
Ten has more than the SEC.
Yeah. By the way, I don't think we officially made a dollar on our picks, but you were the winner by far of the preseason playoff picks.
Oh,
So,
I
what do
totally
you want
forgot
me to
about that.
what do you want me to admit to the audience that O is a futurist in college football? However, you did say Alabama would win the championship, and they didn't even make the
Yup,
damn
I
play.
certainly did. Is
So
that
I'm
still a
still
possibility?
nope. And I picked Oregon.
Definitely a
My two,
possibility.
I got the number 1 and number 2 seeds correct.
Did you?
Yep. My
Nice
3
work.
seed was who was my 3 seed? My 3 seed was
Miami, maybe? Or Utah?
yeah, it was Utah. So I had Utah and Miami, and then the
Yeah.
5
I
seed was
also
Ohio
had
State.
Miami and Utah in some order.
So it might be a wash unless Oregon loses real early because I had the top 2 seeds right, and I also picked Texas, Notre Dame. Ooh, after that it's like
So I'm
I,
gonna say I've been looking at a lot of like the analysts' picks. A lot of people
yeah.
are taking Notre Dame to the championship game. Like that's a real popular pick.
They're the 7 seed, yeah. So are they
Yeah.
taking them to play Oregon? Or
Yeah, it was a lot of Oregon Notre Dame's.
yeah, I got Oregon Boise actually.
Ooh. Well, stop disclosing your bracket because we're not talking
Little
about that on
teasing,
this
a little
episode.
teaser. Yeah, so but I think we're kind of in agreement that they did a pretty good job because they kind of had to. Because you can't just like it when you have it's easier to do a good job on 12 or 68 teams college basketball. We're like, oh, we're once in every 4 years, a team that's like ranked 13th, 14th, 15th, or 69th, 70, 71 has a chance to go to the final four of either tournament. And so it's like, I think this is one of the years that maybe Alabama, but I think South Carolina and maybe Ole Miss, not Miami, had a shot to go to that Final Four as a 12. If you're the 12, you're not facing the five is who again? Texas? Okay, you
Yeah.
beat Texas. Um, Texas and freaking Arizona State. Like, that's not the hardest path to a semifinal. So it's like, there is an argument, but you do have to set the precedence, even though you're going to stamp it out like a freaking sandcastle the next day. The tide will come in and bring the roll tide back because they're like, and then before we jump on to the next subject, dude, what are your thoughts on this? The Alabama athletic director slash he's probably the president of their school, right? That's a school. Is it a college? Is it a university at this point, or is it just
University of Alabama.
it's Nick
It's a
Nick
fine
Saban
institution and it's
bias?
a beautiful campus.
I'm sure it is. Sure it is. Um, what are your thoughts on the athletic director erroneously citing his non-conference schedule as a problem, as the problem
So
from this?
I did see that headline. I didn't read the article,
There we
but
go.
just for what was their non-conference schedule? Let's see. They played
Mercer.
Western Kentucky.
Yeah. Wisconsin
That
and
was a close
Mercer.
63-point victory.
Yeah.
South Florida
Uh-huh. That was a
and
closer game.
yes, and Mercer. Yes, South Florida was only a 26-point victory.
Yeah, it was close in the early fourth or late third. They played at Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, at Wisconsin.
Yeah, where Wisconsin quarterback self-murdered in the first quarter. So that was like after that it was done. But it's like, like you're citing the Wisconsin game as the reason that you won by 35 points or whatever. For the reason you didn't make the playoff when you lost 3 games in the conference, including to Vanderbilt, who's yes, Vanderbilt's good, but 40 whatever points to Vanderbilt. Oh, dude, bro, come on. And not to mention blowing an onside kick game in South Carolina just almost beat you. That ended up being their best win besides Georgia, but it's like, and then you lose to Oklahoma. You got killed by Oklahoma. You know what? I remember when MSU's coordinator, in I think it was 2011, was throwing sideline routes with Kirk Cousins, master of the middle, middle America's holy saint, master of the middle of the field as well. And you're like, let me go with his medium arm. He's a tactician. He's on schedule. He's like computer version of big armed Garrett Goff. Like Garrett Goff, oh, Jared Goff, Garrett Goff, Garrett Goff. But I remember throwing these weak sideline routes, and he did it. His NFL coach initially did too. It was like utilize the player's strength, and instead he's this bum Bama coach is like throwing like sideline check down to wide receivers that are just standing there. Instead of running them up the middle, run up the middle, throw up the middle, throw bombs, utilize a player's strength. Guess what? You didn't deserve it. Your athletic director's a bum. I know he runs the university, but he's a bum because that is a pathetic and weak argument. Apparently, there's no debate team at the University of Alabama because if there is,
So
he ain't.
I'm actually reading the article right now, and I think what he meant to say is he would schedule a harder non-conference schedule.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. No, that's not what he meant. He cites his future schedule as problematic. It sounds like they want to get out of the games where they play Wisconsin and they play someone else in the future. It's like,
If
dude,
he's saying he didn't make the cut this year, his quote is strength of schedule matters. maybe that implies that they needed a better strength of schedule. Maybe they needed a harder non-conference.
No. I think you're not seeing that they're trying all these coaches in the SEC and SMU's coach were just my team deserves. My team deserves. You lost 3 games. You didn't make your conference title game. You lost to a shitty Oklahoma. They were bad this year.
They were bad.
They were not good at all. They fired if you lost a team that fired a coordinator in the season, you probably should not be in the playoff. With all those resources, Saban handed you a Ferrari and you drove it off a cliff. That's 9-3 with that team without that many injuries. Like the team in like 2010 that just demolished MSU's Cousins team in a bowl game, they had some injuries and they were the best team at the end of the year. That they would have, if they had played like that the rest of the year, that team would have won the title. But they lost 3 games, and Saban didn't complain about not being in the top 2, top 4, and this is the same freaking thing. Like, complain. Everything but execute. It's everyone else's fault, SEC. Guess what? It's your fault. You play 8 conference games, so those results are magnified. If you played 9 conference games like everybody else, guess what? If you lose 3 of them, there might be consideration because you would have run into another team that you had to play that's pretty damn good. Or decent, pretty damn decent. Yeah. Is Arizona State over the course of the season better than South Carolina, Alabama, Ole Miss? I don't think so. But are they? If I had to rank those 4 teams right now, I'm kind of South Carolina 1, Arizona State 2, Ole Miss 3, Alabama 4. Deal with it, Bama. Why don't you schedule all Mercers? Are there 4 campuses of Mercer you could play? Come on down to Alabama. We gave you a $10+ million at least aggregate addendi NIL composite consortium, and you're gonna get to be exposed on the SEC network at 12 o'clock noon against Mercer 4 times. How do you like that? Mercer will take the cash. Is that what you want, SEC? Are you listening, Commissioner? Are you listening, Alabama AD that runs the university? I think he's a PhD, is he not? You got a PhD to roll tide, but you should shut the F up. That's how I feel about it. Oh, and then it's just like Lane Kiffin was running his mouth, but he is a hothead, so it's like no one's listening to you. You're not relevant. Your offense is relevant. You got some great defensive talent this time, but you still blew it. You blew it. Lose one less game, you're in this dang playoff. But Arizona State, they got a crazy coach. He's nuts. When he went off on that BYU ending, and the BYU coach is just like sitting there like, okay, so you can tell us when you figure this out, right? And he's just like chill. You got the chill Pacific Islander cool sitting there. And you remember this, right? And this guy's like, whoa, I'm 35 years old and I'm mad right now. Everything matters because I'm so young. I'm 35. I got my whole life ahead of me. And like this dude, anyways, Arizona State is good. They got Scattaboo, and they got a young quarterback that has some pizzazz to him. This is like super poor man's Elway, you know. He's big. He moves.
Former Spartan.
Yeah, former Spartan. And he's a redshirt freshman. So he's got up to 2 more years left. Arizona State and South Carolina are playing well. I would say they both would have legitimate chances to be in the Final Four if they were both in it the way it's going. But anyways, yeah. I'm just so mad about that. You're expanded to 12 and you're still whining. You get every advantage. You have all the resources. Like, you can openly pay people now. Open. Your boosters. You live in territory where the biggest franchise in your entire territory, it's Atlanta Falcons. And the Saints, who like outside of Sean Payton and Breeze are just have been total utter garbage for an entirety of their existence. I mean, their best 3 players are Drew Brees, Morton Anderson, and I guess Kamara. In the entirety of their franchise's history. Okay, that's cool. They've had one coach worth the shit. They famously traded for Ricky Williams, like 9 players for Ricky Williams. So that's cool. That's cool. You know, whatever. SEC, do better. You won't. You won't, but do better. Yeah, we'll get to our picks, but I'm not gonna lean too strongly on the SEC, I don't think. Yeah. Oh, what's next, El?
All right. I think that concludes the college football discussion.
Yeah, let's jump on our picks before I pick on McDermott.
For the
How
20th
about we
time.
do? How about we do our picks? I did off mic pay you for last week because
You did.
you
You
followed up a
committed a
bad week.
big no-no.
We both sorted it.
Yeah,
We're
but
bad. We're bad. We need to be punished.
I did mine because we forgot to do it on the previous
Yeah,
episode.
it's
So
true.
just to catch our listeners up, I owed Z $2 additional. Excuse me. No sneezing on the air. Um, yes, I owed you a couple extra dollars from which weekend was that? What games was that?
The best weekend of my life, man. I won
Yeah.
4 games against you. I mean, I won more than that, but I
Oh, that was the
lost 2.
Thanksgiving weekend.
I was thankful for the
Yeah.
Bears
I
firing
had already
Flus
paid
and for
you
me winning
for the
$4.
Packers over the Dolphins.
Mhm.
And for what?
I don't know.
Was there,
I don't know.
I don't know.
But
Anyway, I had to pay you $2 more. We're all even for
Mhm.
Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, I was
And that
thankful.
brought us
Very thankful.
to this weekend
Yeah, I
where,
owed you $1.
yes, you paid me $1. Let's see. I'll just do a real quick rundown.
Okay. For
I
episode 45's picks.
Yeah, you won the Arizona State Iowa State with the Sun
Yeah.
Devils winning.
Oh yeah.
I won the Clemson SMU game,
Mhm.
and I also won the MAC championship with Ohio. You had Miami of Ohio,
2
and
blowouts and 3/4 of a blowout.
yeah, blowouts
Yeah.
everywhere. So, and then in the pros, you got the Seahawks over the Cardinals, and I had the 49ers over the Bears.
2 more
So,
blowouts, baby.
more blowouts. So,
Yeah.
yes, Z in net owed me $1. He had paid. And now we need to see who is going to owe who. And what week are we on to? Is this week 14?
Week 15 of the NFL. So there's
Is it
4
week
more
15?
weeks. 4 more
Okay.
weeks plus playoffs. Well, the regular season winner of the NFL will just get a hearty handshake, a digital handshake. Because we only did dollar bets on over-unders, and that's if you still have the record, because I don't remember which
I got
episode
it.
it was. Okay, cool. I think he probably beat me at that too.
Well,
But
I
we'll
totally
get to that
killed you
later.
in the number of teams in the CFP.
Yeah, but you again didn't pick the your
Top two.
number your winner. No, but your winner you can't possibly get better. You're like that ace in the first round in your HR department. The
Dude, that
HR
was
and
totally me last year. Like, I absolutely crushed the first 2 rounds.
yeah.
Like, I was leading. I think I was like second or third place in a pool that
Yeah.
had about 200 people in it.
Dang.
And then by the end of the Sweet 16, I was completely out.
You gonna tell me about this pool so I can put a bracket in? I'd only put
Yeah,
one in. Okay.
only can put in
Nice.
one.
Nice. Because
Um,
I think I'm gonna do pretty well this year, actually. Feels like a year.
so yeah, wait, what was I just talking about?
Your acumen in the first and second round, and then you get to the
Yeah.
money shot, and it's like, oh, nope.
No, but what were we
Whoop,
talking about right before that?
Oh yeah, the picks coming up, like
Oh yeah, this
over
picks. All
unders
right,
and
let's
stuff.
do the rundown for week
Yeah.
15.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. We've got
Thursday
Rams
night.
at the. What was that?
Thursday night football on Amazon.
Thursday night
Bezos balling.
football. All right, we've got Rams at the 49ers, and we are going to start the week off with the dollar bet.
It's a recency bias dollar bet showdown. Which performance from last week carries over?
Yeah, so O is going with the Rams.
Yeah.
Z
The high
is going with
variance
the 49ers.
Rams. I'm going with tried and true Shanahan ball where you think they're out, that's when they get you.
Yeah.
They got Garendo looking like a stud. Like, dude, it's his They have good linemen, even the ones that are backups at San Francisco. Like, they're good. Purdy does enough. They have enough defense. It's like they're fine. They're not going to get eliminated to the last minute. They probably don't make the playoffs. However, don't count them out. But don't bet this game. Unless you're us. A dollar bet. He's got the Rams. He thinks they're going to score
So I went with
bajillion
the
points
Rams.
again.
The Rams have won 3 of their last 4, with the only loss being to Philly. San Francisco, on the other hand, has lost 3 of their last 4, with the only win
Yeah.
being over the Bears.
Okay. They lost 3 in a row before that?
No.
And you're wrong.
Yes, they did.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I mean, they got blown out by the Bills. A lot of teams lose to the Bills or the Eagles. So, I don't know. I think that's good. Could be a good division game. I don't know. We'll see. I think you're going to win that one, actually. I just wanted to be different. I
I'm
figured you were
okay
going to
with
pick your
losing
Rams.
that one because that's my feeling towards the Rams. But anyway, we have a dollar bet.
Yes.
Should we just switch our teams? It sounds like we both want the other team.
No, unacceptable.
Here we go. Moving along to Sunday games. Sunday is such a better day. Chiefs at
This
the
is a
Browns.
really good one.
This one's easy. Chiefs.
Chiefs by 2. Walk off. Dude, that doink. Can we talk about that since we're just covering the Chiefs right now anyways?
Go doink it.
Did you watch the replay of that? I think you were asleep. I mean, it wasn't a good game.
I saw the replay.
When he hits that, I was like, I just lost the rest of my account. It wasn't that much. And I was just like, I gotta have to re-up when I come back from Belize Navidad. And I was just like, and then he doinks it in. He in with a third string kicker can doink a field goal in, and the Bears can't make a kick. They have to doink it, double doink it out. I was like, dude, I've seen every doink in NFL history with the exception of maybe one doink in the history of the NFL. Because there were no doinks before I started watching 1989. And I was like, what? This can happen? Like, I can't even get a doink to go in Tecmo Bowl, and the doinks can go in freaking real life, and I win money off of a doink? Oh, I'm on a roll, baby.
The doink is a great thing, and here's my proposal.
Yes.
2 proposals, actually.
Okay.
First of all, let's get bigger posts, right?
Bigger posts. Wider, thicker, taller?
Yeah, bigger diameters.
Thicker, taller, stronger.
Yes, we'll make a Daft Punk song out of it.
And
that bigger diameter.
Don't kill me. Can only make a field goal. All right, go ahead.
And then
wider,
also,
bigger.
I think we need a second crossbar. I don't know if it's across the very top or maybe it's like halfway up the posts. But we need more potential for doinks.
More doinks. I think we need to add to the doink surface area. And if you doink it in, it's worth more points. It's like worth 3.5. Like if you tie a game, but you doink it in, you win the game.
Oh, tiebreaker.
And if you try for a walk-off field goal in a tie game and you doink it off, you lose the game.
What if you call doink?
If you call doink, automatic win. It could be in the second quarter, and you call your own doink and you knock it in, win. Instant win. The other team has to capitulate. And you actually...
But then there has to be a penalty for calling doink but not doinking. That has to be a negative point.
The penalty and reward is decimation. So 1/10 of your roster. So you lose 5.3 players get cut immediately off the opponent's team if you make it. If you call doink and you miss, 5.3 players on your team are eliminated from the NFL immediately, permanently.
I think I will bet you $1. This is the most absurd conversation in the history of dollar bets.
I'm probably up there. I mean, like, doink decimation. Yeah.
Doink decimation. That's the new title. Doink
I think
decimation.
so. It took over whatever the last one I forgot was.
Something about little Johnny.
Yeah. Little Johnny. Little Johnny and Claire. So, yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are just going to keep winning, right? Like, we both have them to the Super Bowl.
And by the way, they also basically, I mean, not mathematically, but effectively, they just clinched the AFC #1 this past weekend.
Because they don't play the Steelers, right?
Well, they don't play the Steelers, but also...
Who was this? Did the Steelers lose any NFC games? I'm trying to remember. They've only lost 3 games, right?
Yes.
It was they lost to the Browns.
They're going to lose to the Eagles this weekend.
Okay,
but with the Bills losing this past weekend, there's very small likelihood that the Chiefs do not get the 1 seed.
Well, the Chiefs would have to lose twice out of 4 games.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
They're not going to lose. They're not going to lose more than once. They're
not going to lose to the Browns this weekend. So moving on.
Yeah,
Bengals at the Titans.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, we both win the Bengals. There's nothing to say there.
Yeah.
The guy needs to get
lost
8,
a
9
game this past weekend that we thought they would win. So neither of
They
us
lost
will
the
probably
Jag
never picking the Titans again this year.
I need the Titans defense to do well against. I think I'm playing Burrow and Chase together in the freaking fantasy playoffs. I'm like, oh, I'm dreading it.
Good luck.
Yeah. What's the next one? Thanks, man.
We got Commanders at the Saints.
I just went with a team that has the better record and has a quarterback that's not doinked up, banged up.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you win.
I went with the Saints. I feel like the Saints.
Oh, you corrected the spelling. Good job.
Yeah, I just saw that.
It was like the Saints. The Saints.
All right.
So yeah,
I'm not a smart man.
I don't really like it.
But I feel like the Saints are turning it around. They're obviously not going to make it to the playoffs, but
I mean, is winning a game against the Giants on a blocked 30-something yard field goal really turning it around, though? They scored 14 points.
Yeah, but also
they won.
No, hold on a second. They have the Saints have also won 3 of their last 4.
Yeah, they're 5-8, right?
They are 5-8.
Okay. Yeah, well, whatever. 8-5 is 5-8, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. None of this means anything. What's the next game, bro?
So dollar bet there. Next game,
Yeah,
Ravens at Giants. This was a tough one.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Ravens and Ravens. Moving along, Cowboys at Panthers.
I was surprised we both picked the Panthers. A dollar bet first.
I am not surprised. Have you been paying attention to the Cowboys?
I don't know. They win in tonight. Started already. The Panthers. The thing is
that game was 7-7, right? Yeah, still 7-7.
I don't know. The Panthers have taken over the crown from the Bears. They're like, oh, you thought you were gonna win? Really?
Yeah, they definitely have had some heartbreakers, but
they dropped a ball in the end zone that was like maybe tipped or something. No, he just dropped. He was like stretched out. Bryce Young threw it. Roll Tide did it. He said Roll Tide, and Leggins or whatever his Leggett said High Tide. You know that commercial? Yeah,
good reference.
And it's too bad. But Panthers are gonna win, we think, because the most Panthers thing you can do is instead of doing what the Bears are doing and like I inspire hope for the future, but lose so you get a better pick and get your coach fired. In this case, they got a decent coach with Canales, but it's like instead of go get that better pick and go 3-14, you're gonna go like 5-11. You're gonna go 5-12, aren't you? You're gonna blow it, aren't you? Okay. So but whatever. They're playing the Cowboys. They have a better offense, weirdly.
I mean the talk the last couple weeks is like Bryce Young is starting to put some things together.
He's had a better recency bias. He's better than Stroud right now, but doesn't mean that's going to continue in the back fourth of the season. Okay, so Panthers. This one sucks.
Panthers,
Jets and Jaguars. Just say the name. Just say it. We don't want to talk about this game.
Yeah.
What a barf. Jets.
That might be this week's toilet bowl.
It might be the tie. If you're looking for a tie on this schedule, that's the one. 19-19 tie.
Cowboys Panthers might also be the toilet bowl. I'm not sure.
Nah.
There's a few candidates for toilet bowl this week.
Yeah.
All right, moving along. We're not talking about the Jets and the Jags. We got Dolphins at the Texans. Speaking of
Dolphins, season on the line. Season on the line. The Broncos have a tough schedule down the stretch, I think. So they could lose that wild card spot to the Dolphins. Hypothetically, Dolphins are 6-7, right? Dolphins and Colts are 6-7. Texans are vulnerable as a division winner too, so that's another way in. Is the Texans dropping a few pegs and Colts not going? You need the Colts. If you're the Dolphins, you need the Colts to beat the Broncos. The Colts overtake the Texans because you'd have the tiebreaker on the Texans. Huh? Huh? So are we talking ourselves into, yeah, we picked Texans, but the Dolphins are winning this game?
So this is a game that this is maybe the hardest game for me to pick this week. Like I
Ooh.
stared at this box for several minutes and I did some research and looked at some stats.
You
Um,
stared at the
but
box for several minutes.
listen, the Dolphins have been playing very well since Tua came back. Like you
Yeah,
can't deny
they've
that.
lost one
Other
game, right?
than a Thursday game on Thanksgiving where they lost at Green Bay, like they have been putting up some points and they've
Yeah,
been
I know.
winning some games in most cases by a pretty good margin.
Yeah, they went to overtime and won the coin toss against the Jets, though.
Was that an overtime game?
Yeah, 32-26.
That is correct. Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
that was an overtime. Um, but yeah, so I'm not going to change my answer, but I just want to go on record that I had to think about this game.
Yeah, me too. I think that's gonna be like it was like, ooh, is O gonna take the Texans and I shouldn't take the I don't want to lose $1 on this game. Did you try to think that way too? Oh wait,
No,
no, it
I
was
was
already
actually actively trying to not look at your answers when I was filling it out this week.
yeah, I just didn't want to sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's just like sometimes those toss up are like, ooh, how much of an addict am I? Do I want to bet on this game? And here's the teams that I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Cardinals, just in general, doesn't have to necessarily be this year. Cardinals, Jets, Texans. I think it's those franchises where you're like, I don't like watching these games of these teams, but I'm gonna bet on it. Why not? Not like I won't bet that much in my account, but I'll bet with you. Like, yeah.
Right.
So yeah, with Texans been a close one, right?
All right. Yeah. So that was a close one. Here's one that I didn't have to think about at all. Colts at Broncos.
Better, I mean, more proven coach. Knicks is having a good season, so it's like they
Knicks,
their
Knicks
defense their
is
defense can show up and
Knicks has exceeded my expectations.
yeah, the Sutton's having a good year. Maybe that's because he doesn't have like end stage Russell Wilson instead of like reincarnated Russell Wilson. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay, Broncos. Ooh,
All
here we
right.
go.
Here we go. This game I'm not going to discuss because my answer is very clear and my thoughts about it are also clear, but I'll let you
We're gonna talk
discuss it.
about it at the end. We'll talk about the Bills at the end, but there's nothing to there's like nothing to talk about the Lions, right? Winning, it doesn't matter. Fourth
11
down, fifth
straight
down, ninth
victories.
down,
Doesn't matter
winning
that
on
we
fifth
have
down.
more injuries on the defense than there are people on the field.
No, they're the Chiefs and Lions. There's I do you okay, do you see a scenario where neither of those two teams makes the Super Bowl? Because I don't. I really don't.
No, I mean that was my preseason pick, those two teams.
There you go. Sticking with it. I mean, it's like, hey, you did get it right, it looks like. I mean, on paper, I think it's gonna come down to like, can the Chiefs win 19, 23 straight, whatever, one score games? And can the Lions break through the can the Lions break the glass ceiling? Um,
Yeah.
and it's like, and is he going to root for it or is he going to root for his predictions? And I don't know.
Well,
We'll see. To be
we'll
determined.
see. TBD. But
However, if it's
this
Lions and
this
Bills,
weekend
it's
you are
big.
picking the Bills on the
Yeah,
road.
I'm just going with Josh Allen against an injured defense. It's just like it doesn't mean they won't play well. I just think it's going to be a well played game that I won't get to see, and you'll tell me if I'm an ass or I'm a genius.
Oh,
Yeah.
you gotta find a sports bar down there in Ambergris,
No, no,
Belize.
no, no. I got my partner in my fantasy team. I'm a 4 seed playing the 5 seed. We scored fucking 182 points last week. Josh Allen had 57 points. I traded him for him at the deadline. I gave garbage. I got greatness back. This season's performance in season, including trading on draft day to get an extra first round pick, which I used on Gibbs on 12th overall. Everything I did, every move, every significant move, I made like 6 or 7 trades. These are the players I traded for before we get to the last few picks here. I traded for the rights to Gibbs. I traded a second, third rounder, and I got like a fifth back or something. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm amazing. I traded for Garrett Wilson. I don't even remember what I gave back. I traded for Mixon. I traded Reed for Mixon because of the keeper league, right? He had one more year of keepability. Got Mixon. Stud, absolute stud. You got Neighbors for, what's his face? JSN, because I'm like, the Seahawks coach, he's a good player, good young player, but the coach is going to mess up when it comes down to it. I think he's going to screw it up. And I already had Walker, and Charbs. I traded for Charbs, scores 34 points and a fill-in spot. Amazing. I'm the best. And then here's the coup de grace, or whatever it's called. I traded Cousins, Hunt, and MVS in a non-keeper league or a keeper league where you can't trade draft picks anymore because of me, for Josh Allen, dude. And this is at the deadline. My 3 games with Josh Allen, it's like, oh, pretty good. Oh, really good. And then God tier post, what's her face that he got engaged to, Josh Allen, against the Lions machine of execution is going to be a good one. Maybe I'll tape it. Should I tape it? Do they have VHS in Belize? We're going to find out. What's our next pick, sir?
Steelers at Eagles.
Ooh, I was surprised you went with the Eagles, actually. I did as well.
This was another game that I thought about for a little bit.
They're on at the same time. Different networks?
I don't know. Let's see. What time is that game on?
Flex one of these games. What's wrong with them?
Oops. Here we go. Where is that game? Oh no, that is a late game. The Pittsburgh Philly game is a 4 p.m. and the Lions are oh no, the Lions are also at 4?
Yeah.
Oh.
They botched that. It's a botch job.
Crap. I gave a friend some bad information earlier today.
Well, it's just gonna happen, Whatever.
Yeah.
We're giving strangers bad information.
No, not strangers. But anyway, let's move it along.
Yeah. Okay. Patriots. Patriots, Cardinals. Whatever. Who cares? That's a who cares bowl. No one cares. No one's watching that game. No home fans go to the Phoenix Stadium, whatever it's called. It's all gonna be New England as Bucks at Chargers. This is a dollar bet here.
This is a dollar bet. Why'd you go with the Bucks?
I mean, I don't know. I don't like Harbaugh.
That's exactly why I went with the Chargers.
They're uninspiring. The Chargers, they're not going to put up 40. They're not going to put up 30. So can the Bucks with Evans back and a trio of running backs that are decent, and Mayfield is fine and can be quite good at times. I think they're well coached on offense. I don't know. It's just so when in doubt, I went against Harbaugh.
Yeah.
F them. And you were like, the Bucks are fine. But was it just you saw that I picked the Bucks? You're like, that's fine. Let's spend some money. Let's roll some dice. We got that covered. Seahawks and Packers. This is at Seattle. Both
in the Pacific Northwest.
A rip-off of Texas A&M's 12-man
This
concept.
one is definitely me picking with my heart. I need the Seahawks to coup de grace Green Bay.
You need that. Didn't you beat Green Bay twice already?
Oh yeah.
You don't need this to happen.
No,
do you?
I need
you
it
do
to
play...
happen just for the sake of Green Bay fans being miserable.
But Green Bay's fans are not miserable because that's like the thing that got going and their team's good. If they were like the Jets level bad and they lived in Green Bay and their thing was going out with cheese on their head, they'd be a laughing stock.
Yeah, well, I want them to lose some games down the stretch and miss the playoffs.
Yeah. They're not going to miss the playoffs. They're 10-3, dude. They can't miss the playoffs. It's impossible. No, sorry, 9-4.
A playoff spot.
9-4. Are they going to lose to the Bears? Come on, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'll cheer for the Bears.
Oh yeah, that makes one of us. I want a draft pick. I took the Packers because I believe in their offense enough that's like they have a high floor with Jacobs and like those receivers being kind of interchangeable sometimes. And I don't know, the guy can coach. He's a weirdo, but like he's a tool and a meathead, and I have that personal connection there. Um, I think he sucks, but like I think the Seattle coach, honestly, it's like your whole family's going down, dude. Like I don't O'Doyle, like they might be 8-5, but they're not a trustworthy 8-5. So I'm going with the Packers. Vikings. This is a no brainer.
Yeah,
You
no
know, it's
brainer.
like the Bears were like, whoa, which how are we gonna blow this coaching search? One way that they're gonna not blow the coaching search anymore is not hiring the interim coach that lost 38-13 in his first game on the sideline. Probably not gonna happen. All right, so we picked the
So here's my
Vikings.
comment real quick on the Vikings.
Sam
Um,
Darnold's dating Hawk Tua, right? Is that happening?
is that a thing?
I don't know. Isn't he like 33?
Wait, oh, did you just make that up, or is that something you
No,
actually
I
saw on the
read it somewhere.
interwebs?
I don't know. I saw on the interweb. I know that she also had like a bullshit meme coin that like ruined people, but they're
Yeah,
stupid.
people are
They're
trying to
probably
sue her or
listeners.
something. Yeah, we're not.
They're probably
No,
listeners.
yeah, no more talking about Hawk
Okay, Hawk Pia Pia. All
That's
right,
um.
what were you gonna say?
So yeah, real quick on the Vikings, like they
Yeah.
are becoming like a diet version of the Chiefs, where they are just like lucky and pulling out some games.
Yeah, where did they get lucky?
Where did they get lucky?
Hmm.
All right, let's see. Let's just go backwards through the schedule. Um,
I mean, they didn't get lucky on the Bears. They gave up like 11 points with an onside kick. Giving up an onside kick is a very definition of not lucky.
um,
92.5% or 93% or more of onside kicks this year, which is it's a relevant stat, not the only relevant stat, have gone the way of the receiving team. And they are, I think, one of the only, if not only, onside kick that was recovered against them. So I don't know. Maybe you just don't like them. I don't like them either, but I don't think they're lucky. I think they're going to get exposed when it come down to it, as the 5 seed against the Lions, unless a lower seed team, a 6 or 7 seed team, wins.
yeah.
So,
So last
yeah.
night, the game against the Falcons, which was a blowout, so probably not luck, but there were some absolutely fluky deep passes where the Atlanta
Oh,
defender just got completely turned around and like ended up like 20 yards away from the
well, they're
receiver.
poorly coached.
Just poorly coordinated.
Well, yeah, coach, coordinator. I mean, they have a
No,
defensive
not
coach.
coordinator, like
Yeah, but they're
what are
not
you doing?
well.
Like
They're not
where's
well
your
run.
hand,
It's the
your eye leg
Falcons.
coordination?
Oh, okay. Well, give me an example that's not the Falcons or the Bears franchises, and I'll side
I mean,
with
the
you.
Cardinals game, like they completely blew, what was it, a 14, 16 point lead?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't remember that one. But that's
Yeah.
not lucky. I mean, lucky is when you like a doink or you get a blocked field goal that's a legitimate blocked field goal. Like the Chiefs just like, "Oh, we have to win at all costs." Like not a Bears blocked field goal where they know you're going to block it.
I
I don't
think
know. I think
anybody
they.
who has watched the Vikings all year will tell you they do not have the look of an 11-2 team.
Well, remember the year that they won? Was it 13-4 or 12-5?
And did not have that look and lost promptly in the playoffs.
The same thing, yeah. When they lost to Daniel Jones. They gave so much ass in that playoff game that they got Daniel Jones paid.
You
So
know,
yeah, I think that's what they're gonna be. I mean, I guess it's nitpicking, but I don't think it was necessarily luck. I think it's just like there's like a paper tiger that's we're like, oh, we gotta make sure Minnesota doesn't get the 1 seed from us. It's like, are you worried about going to Minnesota? No. Like, there's no way Detroit loses to Minnesota in a playoff game, no matter what. I think that's a team you should want. Now, so there you go. There's the reason to root against the Packers because the Packers, despite losing the Lions twice, right? They've also played their asses off, and they're more likely to do that and be a problem. Whereas, okay, the Vikings, you just outscore them. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. All right.
So that's the Vikings. All right, we're gonna finish this off with the game of the week.
Falcons and Raiders.
At Raiders, your game.
There's
of the
also
week.
2 Monday night games. There's 2 Monday night games. Dueling toilet bowls.
Are they doing another 2 Monday night? I really don't like that.
Well, this one's on the Lifetime streaming network.
No.
Home shopping network. It's just going to sell your Raiders gear. Heavily discounted Raiders gear. On the home shopping network. On the bottom of the screen, instead of a score ticker, it's just going to be like Raiders like onesies for your unplanned Raiders baby.
I need you to stop lying to our listeners. The game is on ESPN.
Okay. Which one? 2? It's on ESPN
Atlanta,
2, right?
Vegas is on ESPN. The other game, your game is on ABC.
Oh, okay.
They don't even stagger them. Like one's at 8 and one's at 8:30.
They're like, you're gonna watch one of these?
No, I will watch 0 of them.
Yeah, they're terrible games. Like the Vikings will play down their competition. It'll be the Bears' last stand, and they'll play like shit. And when it comes down to it, and they'll lose. And the coach will the Bears coach needs to already fire the defensive coordinator.
We're done talking about the Bears. We're on the Falcons and Raiders. Who you got?
Oh, okay. We got the same thing. Falcons. I mean, they have to win eventually, right? They got to win out to get you your 10. They're 6-7 now.
I said last week I'm giving up on that. I'm ready to give you the dollar.
But they do own the tiebreakers. They beat the Bucs twice.
Yeah, we'll see if that comes back into play.
I just think they're coached poorly, and also the Raiders guy got injured on a play where who they were playing. The freaking not the Eagles. I don't know.
Yesterday?
Some team that's better. Yeah, yesterday
The
they were
Rams?
playing against. No, the Raiders were playing against the team they lost to. Tampa. The Tampa guy pushed him. O'Connell threw the ball and was like looking at it like, well, that was just an O'Connell pass. And then he goes, "Rah!" And there's no flag, and the guy gets carded off of no penalty. I've never seen that happen. First time to take a skate off, try to stab someone. All right. So there was our picks.
Yep.
Any
parting shots for you today, Z?
My parting shot is against McDermott. Here's the thing. If the Bills and the Lions actually make it to the Super Bowl against each other, first off, 100% picking the Lions in that case, and I will root for them. But it's not going to happen because the Bills are coached by a guy named Sean McDermott. And Sean McDermott is an applesauce brain when it comes down to it because this guy has now done the following things. I'll keep this brief. You can blow the warp whistle, just go when it's time. Well, I know we're both hungry, or you already ate, but you're probably ready for a second dinner or something at this point, or a dessert.
Oh, yeah. I had dinner, now it's time for supper.
Hobbits, 11 Z's, second breakfast. Here's the thing, like I referenced this earlier, so it would set this up better as a closer. Like, pew, pew, set up like a Jake Paul keeping Mike Tyson around for 6 extra rounds. So McDermott was the guy responsible for telling what special teams coach probably how to kick to the Chiefs with 13 seconds on the clock. 13 seconds. You squib it, right? Squib the ball. Didn't squib the ball. Kicked it full. Comes out to the 25 or whatever. 2 plays. They're down the field. Tying long field goal from Harrison Butker. Ties it. They get the ball. They try to throw the Bills a bone. Bless you. We're like, oh shit, we had the best game, the most exciting game in NFL history, and we blew it with our coin rules or antiquated coin rules, right? And so they changed it. Congrats on being so bad at your job that you got a rule changed. It's like, great, awesome, cool, great. Fast forward this year, that was a few years ago. This is 2024 for another couple weeks, and this dude is in a game where his defense is doing nothing for him, which he is. What is he, a defensive guy or an offensive guy? Do you know? I know.
Special teams.
McDermott? No. Defense. He's defensive oriented. What does the team suck at? quite frequently when it comes down to it.
Defense.
Defense. They have Josh Allen. That's good. But does he call the plays for Josh Allen? No. Did he develop Josh Allen? No. So, is this team entirely Josh Allen at this point? Yes, I think so. I think it's nearly entirely Josh Allen's greatness. So this dude is in this game where, for some reason, Josh Allen, despite the defense playing like total ass, the staff are just turning back the clock. Those two receivers just doing it, tapping toes, breaking tackles, giving off pheromones, whatever they were doing. That was fantastic the whole game. But this dude still has a chance to win, right? They're down 3. It's like a couple minutes left, like 3 minutes left, maybe 3 or 4. They get a third down play where they stop them I think it was 7-8 yards short, but they were at the 38 or something. Somewhere around there, 38, 37, 36, 30, 40. Sloppy. And there's a holding penalty. And instead of going for 4, you're down by 3 points. You have Josh Allen. You have all 3 of your timeouts and the 2-minute warning. Maybe you had 2 timeouts. But you have at least 3 stoppages, right? This dude calls for to take the penalty because he's afraid of what? You're so worried that you're gonna have 6 is too many points to get with Josh Allen who can throw 150 freaking yards. Northern California or Central California, Wyoming boy, future married to a superstar. No, this dude is amazing. So what do? Make them kick it or make them go for 4th down in that uncomfortable situation. Instead, they play soft on 3rd down. It's 4th and 5 now. He's closer. They're closer than they were before. And you're thinking, oh, he's going to, okay, they're going to take a kick and maybe he'll make it. First off, the kicker's missed a fair amount of kicks. He's not very good. He's okay. He's a rookie. Strategically, this is the right move. Make them take the long kick immediately with extra time. Instead, he broke their backs. On the 4th and 5 play goes for a touchdown to, what's his face? And it's to Puka. And even then, they still have time left. They march down the field, 3 timeouts. You're down by 9 because the kicker that you were afraid of, missed the freaking extra point. When that happened, I was even more upset. Just because as a fan of strategy and not of giving ass, I was like, oh, what are you doing? So they get down to the 1-yard line. I don't know if you saw this, but 3 timeouts, a minute and a half left around there. They call it quarterback sneak and don't have a play called right afterwards. If it fails, just do something else. Like spike the ball because you have 2 more plays. And you need 9 points. So just spike the ball and throw a fade on 3rd or kick the field goal, right? He doesn't do all those things. They use the timeout, so now they have 2 timeouts left under the 2-minute warning, minute and a half. So mathematically, now they need the onside kick. So he calls the same play, and quarterback sneak gets in, and gives me my 6th touchdown of the day, fantasy victory, yay! But from a human perspective, McDermott is subhuman in this regard, in this play, because why? Mathematically, you do not blow a timeout. You get all the way down there. You're doing things great. You have Josh Allen. You can kick it fully. You don't need an onside kick if you trust your defense. But what they do, they need the onside kick. Pathetic onside kick, because 7% of onside kicks this year have gone the way of the kicking team. So it's why do you call that timeout? Why do you call them it's your responsibility, even if it's the offensive coordinator calling the plays, your responsibility of what type of play you want to run, right? Sorry, end rant, but McDermott, you probably lost a lot of people a lot of money that were and you will again. You will again, because there's no way you're beating the Chiefs in the playoffs. No freaking way in hell. Yeah. Bye. You're not going to do it. Yeah, go ahead, O. What you got?
Here's my parting shot.
Yes.
Hey, what day are you leaving on your trip?
What's that?
What day are you leaving for your trip?
The 11th. Wednesday.
So when in 2 days?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So my parting shot is Z, have a wonderful time in Belize.
Belize, Navidad!
Go swimming in a giant blue hole.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Get eaten by a whale shark.
I will not get eaten. I don't even know that a whale shark is a thing, but it probably is. And I do not want to be eaten by it. I will not be eaten by it because I will survive. I will survive. I will come back from Belize, and I will make sure the Bills lose in the playoffs, like they always do.
Get a tan.
Dude, I'm gonna get so tan. You know
Get a
what?
tan.
When I'm wearing a Lions title medallion on my neck, it's gonna be a tan neck. Okay? I'm gonna eat my words, but not about the Bills, about the Lions, sir. I love you. I'm saying it
Bye.
on here. I love you. Bye. You're like, I don't.
Hi, it's me, Flo, the annoying clairvoyant from Ghost Hampton, the podcast. We had the time of our lives, or in my case, death, giving all our listeners the willies this summer. You missed Ghost Hampton? No, we can't allow that. Now, all episodes of Ghost Hampton are running on Electricast Media everywhere for free. Ghost Hampton, go there to be frightened. Stay there to laugh. Electricast.
Hey, heard you like podcasts. Well, check out Dollar Bets. Two sports guys with faces for radio, betting live money against each other on air. That's Dollar Bets with a Z. Find us on the Winner's Edge.
Electricast.